have me answer a question.
Oh,
We'll call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the call.
dear Supervisor, please be advised that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors will meet at 7 p.m. on August 16th, 2021 in the County Board Room. All County Board members' claims are due in the County Clerk's office by noon on August 6th, 2021, so they can be prepared for Audit Committee approval. Sincerely, Paul Severson, County Clerk.
Roll call.
Rick Nimitz. Douglas Winters.
Here.
Sally Miller.
Here.
Richard Sasha.
Here.
Joe Feltes.
Here.
George Brandt.
Here.
Beth Killian.
Here.
Randy Tollefson.
Here.
Michelle Haynes.
Here.
John Austin.
Here.
Chuck Wallach.
Present.
Tim Zegelin's called and said he will not make it. He's not back from vacation yet. Dan Schreiner.
Here.
Kellen Nelson.
Here.
Jeannie Nutter.
Here.
Kurt Skoyen.
Here.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
16-1.
Okay. Certify the open meeting law requirements have been met with proper notification and posting. We have a 11-item agenda. I'm doing some moving here. Item B is amended. Trumbull County, or it was originally, I forgot what it was originally. Oh, it was outdoor, great
Outdoor.
It's going to be moved to next month. In place, it's going to be Rob Grover.
And you have new agendas on your desks, so.
And then also, item E, I'm gonna move that up to A, the building oversight discussion, so people from building oversight don't have to stick around all night. And item 7A, moving that to B, that's approval of the new health department director.
That's after 5B.
Yeah, and then item 8B, we're gonna move that COVID committee update from Sally and Deb, so they don't have to, so Deb don't have to stick around. And anyway,
And that's up, would
that's
be considered
okay.
D
I'm
in
looking for a motion to
appearances.
approve.
So moved. Second. Oh, everybody's excited.
Motion by Feltus, seconded by Johnson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay. We'll start with appearances, Samuel's group.
Oh, minutes.
Minute, oh, I'm sorry, missed the minutes.
Before we approve the minutes, did Lynn get my email today about,
She's on vacation all week. She started her vacation last week, so I don't.
oh, okay, well then she didn't get it. But if you look at number 7, the announcements, elections and appointments, Supervisor Nutter did not move and second. I don't know who.
Oh, I see it. We'll find out. We'll fix it
Otherwise, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
with that correction.
Motion made to approve the minutes with that correction. Second to that? Seconded by Wallach. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried. Now appearances. Kurt from Samuel's Group, you bring us up to date on the Justice Center?
Evening, everyone. Good to see you here tonight. A few things to update you on. Last time when we met, we were working on approval from the DOC and the courts to put the bid packs out for bid pack 2. We did receive approval today from the courts. DOC was earlier this month and the courts today, so bid pack 2 will be issued and put out on the street here in the next couple of days. We do expect a 3-week bid period for that process. So we'll have a pre-bid meeting where contractors will be able to come on site. We'll talk to them about the ODIP process and make sure that they're up to speed on those requirements, and then bids will be received 3 weeks after that. We'll bring the bids back to property for recommendation and then award to be able to move forward into bid pack 2. The Hobson Street utility work, we did work with property to change the process there, and SEH did the design of the utility work in Hobson Street. That work has already been bid out. The project came back with the lowest bidder, was about $40,000 over our budget. But it was a competitive number. Collectively, between the demolition phase, the bid pack 1, and then the utility package, we're still running about $160,000 under budget, which is good news. I'm cautious about bid pack 2, but I've been sharing that with you. We do have a strategy to get through that. We are bidding in multiple bid packages, and if we have some of them that we need to revise and resubmit, reject and resubmit, we will. So that'll be the process over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks in regards to bidding and moving forward. You'll see that concrete is getting poured out there. We did delay some of the concrete work because we were waiting on coordination between bid pack 1 and bid pack 2 in regards to some of the infrastructure and structural components that are tied there. So we did lose about 3 weeks on the schedule, but overall it's not going to be an impact in regards to the overall schedule. And the other thing is kind of the delay. We have seen some of the material prices have started to decline, not by gobs and leaps and bounds like they were going up, but we have seen some decline, which is good. And we do have some forecasted crystal ball messages that tell us that some of that may start to tail off here at the end of the year. And if we do see some of those bid categories that we want to reject and rebid, we will, to make sure that we align with the budget. So that's kind of an update of where we are with the overall project. Any questions on any of that? No? All right, you want to talk about building oversight while I'm up here? Or?
Why don't I get through Grover's first, and we'll do it under resolution.
Okay, sounds good.
Just stick around about 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
Can I ask him one question?
Yeah.
You know, they sent me the ad that went to the paper, or didn't it go to the paper
It didn't
yet?
go to the paper. It was a draft. So,
Oh, good,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah. Did you need some corrections made on that? No? Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, item B, Trempealeau County Outdoor Rec Plan. Rob?
All right. Well, I won't take a lot of your time. Thanks for having me up here tonight. As some of you are probably aware, Trempealeau County is in the process of updating our outdoor recreation plan. We do this every 5 years, and it helps guide the work of the Parks, Tourism, Economic Development Committee, and also kind of helps set the agenda for what we focus on. You know, what kind of outdoor recreation opportunities do we want to provide? Where do we want to try to invest money if we can? Where do we want staff hours to be spent? That sort of thing. So I gave you all a copy, a physical copy of the survey here, and you can fill it out, the physical copy. It also is available to do online. I put it right on the front here where you can go online and do it. That might be a little bit slicker for some people. And you also, if you want, of course you all have a copy, but if you know someone who maybe isn't comfortable doing it online, you can print off a PDF version right off the website, or I can provide a PDF, a copy as well for folks. So, you know, just looking at it, there's all sorts of different questions, trying to gauge, you know, what people enjoy doing here in Trempealeau County for outdoor recreation, and also trying to gauge, you know, maybe where some areas we need to improve. And there's also sections, you know, not just for marking off, but you can add comments, that sort of thing. So yeah, this is a very important aspect of just gauging, again, what direction do we want to go in the next 5 years. And from this information, we'll put it all together, and it'll help, it'll all go into the outdoor rec plan and just help how we finalize that plan, which is due by the end of the year. There also is an area, yeah.
Could you just refresh people's memories about why it's important that we have an outdoor rec plan and how conservation grants are attributed through these plans?
Oh, you bet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of DNR grants and other grants that help provide, let's say, funding for trails or funding, let's say, for, you know, maybe it's lake restoration or that sort of thing. A piece of those grants is that either the project itself or the idea of the project is written into this outdoor rec plan. So it's important, especially, you know, there's an area in the plan here that's specifically for municipal officials, which I think some of you are as well, other than just being county board members, or at least you work very closely with your municipal officials, making sure that we work programs into the plan. You know, an example would be the Strum Community Trails up near Strum. That's not in our plan now, but that is an incredible project that's been worked on for really the last 15 months or so. They've developed some great trails on the old ski jump area. So then what we will do is write that into our outdoor recreation plan, so that in the future, when the volunteer groups that are doing that work, they'll have a better chance of actually scoring higher and getting those grant monies. So, if some of you are part of rod and gun clubs, let's say, and you've got some projects coming up in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years that you want to work on, this is a great place where you can write those things in, and we can make sure we incorporate either specifically the plan or at least like the idea of, expanding areas for people to be able to enjoy hunting, or expanding areas for people being able to shoot and that sort of thing. We can make sure it's in the plan, and that'll just help organizations and municipalities to score higher with those grants. So we'll be sharing this widely with the public, with the municipalities. Really, we want everyone that can to fill it out, and you don't have to live in Trempealeau County as well. We're also going to be working with some businesses to see if we can get their folks coming into Trempealeau County to fill it out, so we can know, like, why are you coming here? So yeah, please give it a look. Please fill it out, and please share it with the folks in your local areas, how they can do it as well. So. Changing gears just real quick, I'll be real brief on this, but I wanted to share a grant opportunity that's going on right now. Ever since COVID started, there's been a lot of different grants and programs and loans and that sort of thing, sponsored by the CARES Act. And you'll find this sheet here. So it's the $10,000 Main Street Bounce Back grants. Again, this was funded through the CARES Act, given to the state of Wisconsin. And basically what it is, it helps. So if you, from January 1st of 2021 until I believe June 30th of 2022, if you move your business into, or you start a business and move it into a vacant downtown space, and that can be in any of our small towns here in Trempealeau County, you can apply for this $10,000 grant that really you can use pretty widely to, whether it's for your business operations, to pay your staff, to upgrade equipment, that sort of thing. There are some limitations. You can't move your business from one location into a new one. It's got to be a space that was vacant, and you have to confirm that you're not emptying out another space to do it. But basically the push is to help get some of these vacant buildings we have in our downtowns full. And when you look over Trempealeau County, it varies by area. Some areas have most of their downtown buildings with someone in it. Others really need some assistance with that. So this could be a great incentive if you know folks in your community that have an idea, or maybe have a business and they've been flirting with the idea of moving into a brick and mortar sort of building. This would be a wonderful opportunity for them, and we'll assist them with that process. And yeah, they can reach out to me, and we can help them from there. So please share that widely. And then one more thing I wanted to share is, I know if you're on the PTED committee, you saw these numbers before, but I wanted to share with you a little bit of some of the 2020 tourism just dollars that basically came into Trempealeau County. And one thing we're really proud of, and we weren't expecting this, but out of all the 72 counties in the state of Wisconsin, our amount of direct visitor spending, so that's basically the monies that when folks are intentionally visiting Trempealeau County that they're spending, every county in the state went down a bit, but Trempealeau counties went down the least of all 72 counties in the state of Wisconsin. And that's a real testament to, I think, the work that the county's doing, but also the incredible businesses we have, and the incredibly motivated chambers and that sort of thing. So it's something to be proud of. It also speaks to the fact that I think we want to keep the ball rolling on that as well. We've invested in the last year in a couple different advertising campaigns, basically for Trempealeau County, more or less using social media, partnering with River Travel Media out of La Crosse, promoting our website, and promoting some of the resources that we have here at Trempealeau County to draw people in. So we should be very proud of that, and I think we want to keep that growing. So just sharing that with you now, and yeah, something we all should be proud of here in Trempealeau County. So that's what I got for you. Sorry I went longer than 2 minutes, John, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Any question from Rob? For Rob? Seeing none?
Thank you, folks.
Thank you much. Okay, item normal 6A is going to be moving up. It's the dissolution of the Building Oversight Committee. Paul, what happened to Paul? You want to read it? Oh, here, I got it right here.
I got it.
Oh, he's got it?
Yep. Whereas in December 2019, the Building Oversight Committee was created and given the authority to gather information regarding the type of facility, jail, justice center, that would be appropriate for the county based on its needs. And whereas the Building Oversight Committee was also given authority to use funds from the building fund for operating expenses. And whereas the Building Oversight Committee was designated as the Oversight Committee for the building project through the completion of such project. And whereas the Property Committee has assumed the responsibility of overseeing the Justice Center building project and subsequent remodeling of the existing courthouse. And whereas upon completion of the design phase of the Justice Center project, the Building Oversight Committee will no longer be needed, and the Property Committee will continue to oversee the project through its completion. Now be it resolved that the Building Oversight Committee is dissolved upon completion of the design phase of the Justice Center project, and the Property Committee will continue overseeing the project through its completion. Introduced by Exec Finance Committee, Chuck Wallach, Richard Sesa, George Brandt, John Austin.
Okay. What?
You skipped the other two appearances, so I thought I had plenty of time to get
What
out.
other two appearances?
You had the,
Chuck and Brandt, thank you.
Oh,
okay, that's okay.
anyway, okay, we got a motion?
Yep, and second was
Seconded by George. Would you like to comment on this, Kurt?
I just wanted to take a minute and let the board know, I know you guys haven't done a lot of projects like this, but I shared with the Building Oversight Committee, this is the first time that I've worked with a large committee like that included community members, it included staff, it included board supervisors, and collectively it was a tremendous experience. I mean, everybody brought a lot of value, a lot of insight in regards to what was going on in the community, things that should be in the project, kind of the personality of the building that's displayed there, and I want to make sure that all the committee members are thanked, and they've done a great job for not only the board here, but for the entire county, and just want to thank them for that. And I did share with them, we want to make sure that they know they're invited to all the property meetings that are there. They're still part of the project. Come in and visit, and all those components that are tied into that. But it was a great experience, and thanks for having that as part of the project. So.
Okay. Is there any other comments at all? Not? Want to call the roll?
Kurt Skoyan.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Nimitz. Douglas Winters.
Yes.
Sally Miller.
Yes.
Richard Sesha.
Yes.
Joe Feltus.
Yes.
George Brandt.
Yes.
Beth Killian.
Yes.
Randy Tollefson.
Yes.
Michelle Haynes.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yeah.
Chuck Wallach. Yes. Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
16-0.
Okay, the next thing I moved up was appointment to a new health director. And I think, Sally, you wanted to mention it or say a few words, or?
Somebody's,
Oh, Beth is here. Beth. Beth, did you want to say a few words?
Yes,
do you want to go up front?
no, I don't want to go up front.
Turn your mic on.
He's going to have to.
Turn your mic on.
He can go
Oh,
up front. I'll just stay
It's
here.
on.
Okay.
As the chair of the Board of Health, the board has met. We did interviews and chose Aaron Newberry as our new Level 2 Health Officer / Director, and he was approved by the state. I did send a letter to Mr. Austin for the full county board to approve him, and last minute thought was to ask Aaron if he wanted to appear, and he is here. So I don't know if you need to read the letter,
I got it.
but Aaron certainly can introduce himself. We had a chat for an hour or so last week, and I know he's been meeting with other folks, and we're happy to have him here.
I'm going to have Paul read the letter before we.
Sounds great.
It's addressed to John Austin, County Board Chair. At the July 7, 2021 Board of Health meeting, the board voted unanimously to hire Aaron Newberry for the Trempealeau County Health Department Director / Health Officer. On July 14th, 2021, I received this confirmation from Krista Koop, DHS. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services, Division of Public Health, has reviewed the qualifications of Mr. Aaron Newberry as health officer for the Trempealeau County Health Department. After review of the provided resume of Mr. Newberry, it has been determined that he meets the requirements set forth in Wisconsin Statute 251.06 as a Level 2 health officer. Mr. Newberry began his employment on July 28th, 2021. This provided a few days of overlap with Barb Barzek. The Board of Health is asking for you and the full county board to approve Aaron Newberry for the Trempealeau County Health Department Director Health Officer. From Beth Killian.
Now you can throw in your 2 cents.
Sure. My 2 cents is thanks for having me tonight. I'm glad to be here, and just happy to be in Trempealeau and take this next step, get through COVID and get back to normal as soon as possible. So, otherwise, I'm not sure what you want out of me. All right. I don't know how much of my background. I've spent the last 6 years in La Crosse County as an environmental health person there, and then COVID happened, and I got bumped up to the leadership there for a while, and then starting in January, got the opportunity to control all the vaccine in the county and make sure that it got distributed. We got the state vaccination site at UWL. That was me and my team, and then we were able to use an all-volunteer force through the Weaver program, and the health department themselves in La Crosse led a team that we did 5,000 vaccinations, 5,000 shots in like 4 months there. So quite an effort, and now nobody wants it. So.
Ms. Haynes.
I do. As Sally said, I'm also a vet. I'll come back to that in just a second. I spent 8 years in the Army National Guard. I did a year in Iraq in 2008. And I'm happy to talk more about that in private if you'd like. As far as that family, I'm from Illinois. Don't hold that against me, please. I'm from the middle of the state, so not Chicago. We'd all say that. Went to college at Indiana University, and my wife, before grad school, said, let's move to Virginia, so I said, okay. We did that for a couple years, then we moved here 8 years ago. I worked as a food inspector at the chicken plant in Arcadia for a couple years, driving from the south side of La Crosse, like I am now here, so I'm used to the drive and the weather. And family, been married for 7 years, I think, and seven or 8. And my son's, yeah, she's not watching this. She's too busy with the kids. My son turned 5 yesterday, and I have a 2-year-old daughter as well. So happy to be here. And my wife works for the city. And no, for La Crosse. Yeah, so.
Any other questions? Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Motion by Brandt, seconded by Nutter.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That sounds like it's unanimous. So, okay, the other thing I have is the COVID-19 report. Sally Miller and Deb Sukla.
Actually, Aaron, can you help us out here? Yep. So, just a reminder, the COVID committee's job is to look at the internal, what we do internally, not outside of the county, and the policies and such to do with employees and buildings. But one thing I wanted to just kind of let you know is that obviously, as you're seeing, the numbers are going up a little bit, so we are asking folks to please consider masking up. This hasn't been a change. There's no change in policy, but based on some of the information that's coming out there, we strongly urge. I would like, if you've got some numbers that you have, that you could just kind of like even where we were at today and some of the growth that you reported to the COVID committee on Friday.
Thank you, Sally. Just so everyone knows, the numbers are going up. The projections are going to continue to go up as far as we can tell. The daily case rate per 100,000, it's a 7-day rolling average, is 27.5. That puts us in the high risk area for Trempealeau County. There are currently 74 active cases. We have 4 hospitalized, 1 additional from Friday. And unfortunately, we had a recent fatality, the first in several months, this late last week. So I think that is most of the numbers there that matter.
Okay. Deb, did you have something to add?
Okay, so she's gonna talk about the money thing.
So for the COVID money that we received, of course, the CARES money came in, and Paul and Integrity have been working hard. They got the FEMA first request in. We're just waiting to hear when and what about that. They had a number of questions, and that was taken care of over a month ago. It's typical for FEMA to take this long. That was one of the questions that we had, because it's like you send it in, so where's the money? And so we're working on that. The FEMA funds are still open through the end of September. Now with this Delta variant, we're waiting to find out from the feds, is there going to be an extension of this public health crisis? If so, the FEMA funds could go beyond the end of September. What we know today is the end of September. My guess is that that'll be extended, but it's hard to guess what the feds are going to do. Paul has been working on putting together the revenue losses so that we can get the American Rescue Plan Act funds. We received the first check, but we have to give them evidence that we can keep it. We're going to have to do that 20, 21, 22, 23, and through 24 to be able to get all those funds. We're hoping we can get those funds just through the revenue loss during that time period. Then those funds will go into the general fund, and then how the county chooses to spend them will be this body's decision. The other thing that's in the American Rescue Plan Act that I'm hoping to be able to work on with the Integrity Group real soon is the funding for the rental assistance. How do we administer that? How do we handle that? I'm sure you heard in the news a lot of talk about the moratorium being extended and all that sort of thing. I've heard a lot of people being very concerned about landlords and what are they going to get out of the deal. So what we want to be able to do is work with individuals in the county who need the rental assistance and give those landlords the revenues that they need, because they certainly have expenses with those properties. There'll also be some, could be some assistance to help with utilities as well. So we're hoping to get that off the ground starting next month. We will be working with the Integrity Group. They have the resources. Mr. Brandt had talked at a previous meeting about who's going to take the applications, how do we do all that. They have the resources to do all that, so they'll be working through our department to be able to connect with the community, and so we're hoping to be able to do that again starting in September. That will be a great benefit to many people in our county. Miss anything?
I think that's it. People are concerned about whether masks work, what type of masks you have, and such. We have identified that we have some KN95s in the building, so as county board members, if you want to get one and get fit tested, we do have somebody, correct? A few that can assist with that, so that you can get, something that works, so that you at least know. So as, it's not required, we're just encouraging, and I would say, we lead by example too. I'm not thrilled with masks any more than all of you are, but we certainly don't want to see where we have staggering numbers and tragedy happening. So at least right now, the policy hasn't changed, and nobody has we're basically the same where we are. The department heads will be making decisions based on how they interact with the public, what their employees' level of interactions and risk is, and then each department, as has been the policy for, close to a year or more. Right, we'll still be department heads will be the ones making the decisions on employees, and there is no, at this point, and I don't anticipate, I don't feel there was no political will for any kind of a vaccine mandate or any kind of proof of vaccination for our employees, because a lot of people have been asking me about that, and so we did address that at the committee level. So if you're not getting calls, you're lucky. And if you do get calls, now you have the answer. Yeah. You would call, and then, And then they're the kind that, you can use them a few times, put them in a paper bag between uses. But they'll be properly fitted to your face so that they do have that level of protection.
Okay, thank you.
And then the committee has discussed making sure that we have sufficient on hand. So Jeremy, who is the person that does coordinate purchasing of these equipment, is going to start getting some additional KN95s so that people are using masks that are known to work. Okay, any other questions? Okay.
This is going to go back to the ARPA funds, so Deb, this
I was
is,
going to say, it's probably not for me. I
this
don't
is
know
the
a
one
lot.
for you. The Exec Finance Committee met earlier this month, and we discussed the possibility of creating a committee to, made up mostly of department heads to comb through the requirements for where the ARPA funds can be spent and not spent. And the message that came sort of from the ether was, no big hurry, we got till 2024 to do this. In your presentation, you said something to the effect that very shortly, this is my reading, my inference, very shortly we need to be able to prove that we can actually use these funds in order to keep them. Was I not hearing you right? Or?
So my understanding, and Paul and John have been on the calls with WCA, my understanding is if we can show a revenue loss in 2021 and going forward as compared to previous years in terms of all the types of revenues that this county brings in, which is all the different kinds of departments, my department, there's lots of kind of revenues, all kinds of revenues. If we can show a decline in those revenues, that's really, then what we can do is we can then make that calculation, draw those funds down. We can legally draw those funds down, put them in the general fund. Once we put them in our general fund, you don't have to follow what the ARPA rules are. They're then considered general fund dollars, and you can do with them as this body deems. Am I saying this correct, John and
Yeah.
Paul?
Right.
So,
Can I just throw one more thing in there? Our first interim report to the feds is due the end of this month, August 31st. We have to have a report to them that we are looking at things to do. So, I mean, it's, and I can't remember, the next one I think is in October? I think it's October.
I don't remember
There's
that.
these interim reports that we have to do.
That's what that
that's,
thing was.
that was very unclear to me. So the question that comes to my mind, or rather the scenario that seems to come to my mind, is the county board, or possibly the Exec Finance Committee, has does anyone else lose their vocabulary at a certain age? Has a reason to find income loss in order to get this money into the general fund to do what we want with it, which would include
All the departments.
all the departments. So it seems to me that that runs counter to a lot of what the ARPA funds were meant for originally, which was to, my understanding, help with infrastructure, help with any number of issues that were related to COVID, more so than just.
Well, I can answer that in two parts. One is the ARPA funds had all kinds of different pots of money in the ARPA funds.
Right,
There was
exactly.
a big pot for infrastructure. That is still there. All we're talking about is the pot of money that was set aside for local government and municipalities. And what are ways we can earn it? And we've received an abundance of advice from the WCA group, and they are saying that they believe most counties should be able to draw down their share, what they can get. Ours is $5 million total over the years. That we should be able to draw that down based on calculations showing revenue loss.
So in other words, the $5.7 million that not a month or two ago you were talking about a once-in-a-generation, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to target issues related to everything related to mental health and drug abuse and domestic violence prevention is now being touted by the Wisconsin Counties Association as a way for us to pad our budgets, our general fund budgets.
So that's why this body gets to decide. You can put it in general fund and then spend it as you have shortfalls, or you can take it as once in a lifetime spending and use it that way. You can do a little bit of filling shortfalls and a little bit of once in a lifetime. Again, if we can draw it into the general fund, then you get to decide what you want to do with those funds. And that's one of the things I think this body should be giving some thought to, or at least starting to formulate some ideas. Because once it's a general fund, you don't have to follow all the ARPA rules. You kind of, the world is your oyster.
I'm very disturbed by all that. This is not the intention that I understood these opera funds to be used for. I certainly can see why this would be desirable in some people's minds.
Paul's got a comment.
Can I
Okay.
just say one thing? The lost revenue is only one category, and there's actually 4 different categories that ARPA has. And I didn't bring them with, so I couldn't even
Yeah.
tell you them all, but,
So
so
if
we're
we-
looking at all aspects.
Can I then draw the conclusion that the message we got at Exec Finance Committee earlier this month, that there's no big hurry to make any decisions about anything, and that we can go more slowly in terms of how it is we decide, or where the need is, and how the money should be spent or could be spent, is sort of off the table? We should be dealing with this sooner than later?
We do not have to spend the money until 2026, but we have to have our plan done by 2024 of committing those funds to whatever.
I think the process of figuring out how are we going to draw down those funds, what calculations are we going to come up with to show revenue loss, and how much revenue loss can we show over these next 4 years, and will that equal the 5.7 million? If not, then we have to look at the other categories. Are there things that we can do to draw down those funds so we can capture the full amount of money? They sent us the first part of the money. We don't get the second part of the money until we show them, and with all kinds of documented evidence, that we've either earned it through revenue loss or through these other 3 categories that Paul's talking about. And until we do the calculations, it's hard for us to know right now what this is going to look like. We believe, based on what WCA is telling us, we should be able to draw down most or all of it through the revenue loss calculations.
I think the idea of the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to address significant social needs in the county seems to be going out the window.
Well, I haven't lost hope.
Good.
I think we have to figure out how we're going to get the funds, and then we figure out what to do with them. And the speed that happens, again, if we just dump it in general, I mean, I think one of the things this body could do, if they so chose, would be to earmark those funds in the general fund, and so that when the Exec Finance Committee and the County Board are looking at budget and other things like that, that they are very conscientious about, do they tap into those funds or not? That's a process you could do. That's up to you.
Without advice from the areas of expertise within the county, department heads and employees and so forth, who know where those needs are, I'm afraid the Exec Finance Committee and the County Board is not going to have the wherewithal to know where to put that money, which is why the importance of getting input sooner than later. I apologize for going on, John, but I'll stop here, and you can.
I think
you
your
can
point
see
is
I'm disturbed by the change in tone and how we're approaching this money. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Thank you.
So, there's one thing I do want to point out. We've got 2 different things going. We've got recovery funds through FEMA, and Mr. Schreiner over there knows that stuff better than anybody in here. And then the recovery in terms of going forward. So, you know, he would be a good person to kind of explain some of what we're doing with FEMA, where that's at with this, and then this other stuff that's coming that's a once in a lifetime. Okay. Sorry, Dan, but you know it.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to which is originally 6A, environmental land use rezone.
Whereas Michael J. and Rebecca A. Meyer, petitioner landowner, have requested the rezone of a parcel of land in the town of Hale for the purpose of a greenhouse and gift shop. And whereas the rezone is on 1 acre, more or less, and whereas the public hearing was held pursuant to section 59.69 parentheses 5 of the Wisconsin statutes, and whereas the town of Hale supports the rezone request, And whereas the Environment and Land Use Committee moved to rezone this parcel from residential 8, R8, to commercial, C, and it appears that the zoning change request is appropriate under the circumstances. Now be it resolved that the county adopt the attached ordinance amending the zoning district boundaries as indicated, introduced by Environment and Land Use Committee, George Brandt, Kellen Nelson, Charles Wallach, Anthony Munson, Beth Killian, Kurt Skoyan, Randy Severson.
Motion by Brandt, seconded by Skoyan, you think? Okay,
Mr. Chair?
yeah,
I can describe the request. It's laid out here pretty well. The application came into the office on June 16th of this year, and the request by Mr. Meyer, who's back here in the corner, and was for a greenhouse, gift shop with retail sales, vegetables, flowers, shrubs, crafts, gardening tools, etc. The fact that there would be a retail sales on site triggered the request for the commercial rezone. They were originally looking at a much larger area, but it's been down to less than an acre for the rezone. It was published in the newspaper 2 weeks in July, 14th and the 21st. There were a couple of concerns from neighbors, which were answered, and by the Myers as well as by the committee members and by staff. And as you heard, the town of Hale supports the rezone.
okay. We have a motion on it already, don't we?
We do. Yep.
Okay,
Brandt and Skoyan.
call the vote.
Michelle Haynes.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Chuck Wallach.
Yes.
Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Kurt Skoyan.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Nimitz. Douglas Winters. Sally Miller.
Yes.
Richard Seisha.
Yes.
Joe Feltus.
Yes.
George Brandt.
Yes.
Beth Killian.
Yes.
Randy Tulfson.
Yes.
16-0.
Passes. Law Enforcement Emergency Management,
Yep.
Exec Finance Committee. This is a transfer from unassigned general funds to the Sheriff's Office Vehicle Fund.
Whereas the Trempealeau County Sheriff's Office maintains a fleet of vehicles to be used to provide law enforcement services to Trempealeau County. And whereas the Trempealeau County Sheriff's Office has established a non-lapsing fund account number 52106 for annual Sheriff's Office vehicle replacement. And whereas the Sheriff's Office vehicle fund account was reduced to $113,698 in the 2021 budget from $140,000 so as to avoid the need to increase the county tax levy. And whereas the cost of the next year model of police vehicles commonly used in law enforcement has increased $3,500. And whereas the original budget amount requested, $140,000, is consistent with the 2020 budgeted amount. Now be it resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors approves the transfer of $26,302 from the unassigned general fund into account 101.52106.810 vehicle budget for the Sheriff's Office use in vehicle replacement. Introduced by Law Enforcement Committee, Ron Johnson, Dan Schreiner, Sally Miller, Randy Tulfson, Tim Zeglin, and Executive Finance Committee, Chuck Wallach, Richard Seisha, George Brandt, John Austin, Tim Zeglin.
Move for adoption. Second.
Motion by Johnson, seconded by Feltus. Discussion? I can tell you that we did cut his budget to make things pass for the last budget, so. anyway.
Yep, and then when we did the budget last year, I knew that I was not going to be ordering this year's squads until a little bit later in the year. So we discussed that piece, and we discussed the levy piece, and it was agreed that my budget would reflect a vehicle replacement of $113,698, knowing that sometime during 2021, I was going to have to replace those vehicles. It would be later in the year, and when that time had come, I would come back with a resolution to draw those funds out of the general fund then. And that time has come. If you all remember, 2 years ago, I made a report that the Ford Explorer had increased $3,500, and I found that the Dodge Durango was coming in about $3,500 less than the Explorer. The 2021 model of the Dodge Durango is now $35,000 and some odd dollars as well. So when I say that that it has increased $3,500, that is the most common vehicle that replaced the Explorer is now the same price as the Explorer. So just a side note, the reason it takes so long is lead times are almost 6 months now for new vehicles. So that's why it gets drawn later into the year, and that's even if we can even order them. Some manufacturers, we can't even order vehicles yet. So.
Any questions? No? Call the roll.
Joe Feltus?
Yes.
George Brandt?
Yes.
Beth Killian?
Yes.
Randy Tollefson?
Yes.
Michelle Haynes?
Yes.
John Austin?
Yes.
Chuck Wallach?
Yes.
Dan Schreiner?
Yes.
Kellen Nelson?
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter?
Yes.
Kurt Skoyen?
Yes.
Ron Johnson?
Yes.
Rick Nimitz?
Yes.
Douglas Winters?
Yes.
Sally Miller?
Yes.
Richard Sasha?
Yes.
16-0.
Thank you.
Item C, this comes from Exec Finance again, transfer fund, unassigned general fund for out of warranty support for IT.
Whereas the Trempealeau County Information Technology staff can no longer secure and support out-of-warranty servers running production loads. Whereas in 2021 and 2022, we have 9 production servers that are no longer supported by the manufacturer. And whereas the security components identified in the 2020 security evaluation now requires that all production servers are covered under a support agreement for firmware and patches. Whereas the security evaluation results were not available prior to the completion of the 2021 budget, and whereas the estimated cost to secure a third-party support contract to cover the expected production life of our equipment from August 1, 2021 through July 31st, 2023 for the enhancement of the county's security status is $15,762.32. Whereas the purchase of these services will greatly assist in allowing existing in-house staff to mitigate security issues, protect county data, and prevent a loss of critical services. Now, be it resolved that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors approves the transfer of $15,762.32 from the unassigned general fund to account 101.514550.210 for the purpose of securing a third-party support contract to assist in improving the county's technology security situation. Introduced by Property Committee, Chuck Wallach, Randy Tollefson, Dan Schreiner, Richard Sasha, Tim Zeglin, and Executive Finance Committee, Chuck Wallach, George Brandt, Tim Zeglin, John Austin, Richard Sasha.
Motion by Tolleson, second by Wallach. Discussion. You want to explain it?
This is to make sure that we have support for everything that runs stuff that's important to the county. So if it's got data on it or it's being leveraged to provide services to citizens, and not strictly for just backups and archives, then we want it covered by a support agreement so that if something goes wrong, we can avoid the situation like we had last month. And I promise we didn't make that happen because the Property Committee had already approved my proposal for this. It just happened to be that 1 month or less than a couple weeks later, we ended up having a server go down for over a week. That kind of put us in a bind. So we'd like to avoid that in the future. Had this agreement been in place, that would have saved us about 6 days of downtime and $1,700. So.
Okay. Any other discussion? Not? Call the roll.
Beth Killian. Randy Tollefson.
Yes.
Michelle Haynes.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Chuck Wallach.
Yes.
Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Kurt Skoyen.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Nimitz.
Yes.
Douglas Winters.
Yes.
Sally Miller.
Yes.
Richard Sasha.
Yes.
Joe Feltus.
Yes.
George Brandt.
Yes.
16-0.
Item D, PED Committee to establish a non-lapsing fund.
Oh, where did I put it now? Oh, here. I've lost it twice now. Okay, the resolution that I'm going to be reading is going to be just a little bit different than the one that you have in your packets. I think you'll be able to tell where. Whereas the Trempealeau County Economic Development and Tourism Office is planning to occasionally offer for sale items that would help promote Trempealeau County and raise funds for future marketing purposes. Whereas the monies that are generated from these efforts need to be placed in an account, and it is desirable that this account be non-lapsing so that they can be used in the longer term. Now, be it resolved that the non-lapsing expenditure account 101.55355.999 and revenue account 101.46810 be established. And introduced by Parks, Tourism and Economic Development Committee, Beth Killian, Buzz Sorgi, Michelle Haynes, Jeannie Nutter, Dan Schreiner, Joe Feltus, Bob Petrick.
Move to approve.
Motion by
Killian
Nutter,
will second.
seconded by Killian.
Yep, I'll keep it short and sweet. So one thing we want to start doing more of is offering some promotional items that people can possibly purchase to help both promote the county and give people some souvenirs, that sort of thing. I'm passing, some of you may have seen this, but I'm passing around a map that a local Trempealeau County, and actually, Michelle, if you want to turn around and let people see, a map that a local artist did for us in 2019, and then COVID hit, and we didn't get around to this aspect of what we were looking to do. But anyway, we want to start selling some things, marketing some things, again, both to promote the county and then maybe raise some funds for some of our marketing efforts as well. So, and we need an account to do that. That's really, it's never been something Trempealeau County has done, but you've got a tourism coordinator, so we should be doing some of that. So that's what this will do.
Would this incorporate too, like some of the things that we talked about at the park? Because we did have those coffee mugs and they went in like 10 minutes. And
Yeah. Yep, you
can't
bet.
get 'em, so.
Petrick Park, I believe, has their own fund
Oh, that's
for.
right, we have our
But
own
you're
ones.
right. Yes,
Right.
anything like that, anything that if we want to do shirts or postcards or
Right.
just things like that, partner with area businesses to help sell them for us and that sort of thing. So again, a way to raise some money. And I often do hear people say, "Gosh, there's nowhere to get a Trempealeau County souvenir." So maybe we can help that a bit.
Need a spoon.
A spoon. Yeah, there you go. Collectible spoon. Yeah. Some marcas, sure. Hey, well, I'm open to anything.
T-shirts, mugs, you gotta get those mugs back.
Those mugs were cool.
awesome.
They were really cool. Yeah, I agree.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Kurt Skoyan.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Nimitz.
Yes.
Douglas Winters.
Yes.
Sally Miller.
Yes.
Richard Seixas.
Yes.
Joe Feltus. George Brandt. Beth Killian.
Yes.
Randy Tollefson. Michelle Haynes. John Austin.
Yes.
Chuck Wallach.
Yes.
Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
16-0.
Item F, Audit Committee, members' claims.
Whereas the Audit Committee has audited the following claims and recommend that they be allowed as follows. John Austin, $709.44. George Brandt, $238.08. Joe Feltus, $138.08. Michelle Haynes, $192. Ron Johnson, $712.80. Beth Killian, $432.88. Sally Miller, $237.36. Kellen Nelson, $586.76. Rick Nimitz, $254.16. Jeannie Nutter, $409.76. Richard Seixas, $316.48. Dan Schreiner, $300. Curtis Goyen, $513.12. Randy Tollefson, $278.40. Chuck Wallach, $447.04. Douglas Winters, $164.96. Tim Zeglin, $280.64. Total per diems, $4,550. Total expenses, $1,661.96. Grand total, $6,211.96. Now be it resolved that the claims be allowed as shown. Introduced by Audit Committee, John Austin, Douglas Winters.
So move. Moved by Feltus,
Second.
second by Johnson. Any discussion, any disputes? Not, call roll.
Randy Tollefson.
Yes.
Michelle Haynes. John Austin.
Yes.
Chuck Wallach.
Yes.
Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Kurt Skoyan.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Nimitz.
Yes.
Douglas Winters.
Yes.
Sally Miller.
Yes.
Richard Seixas.
Yes.
Joe Feltus.
Yes.
George Brandt.
Yes.
Beth Killian.
Yes.
16-0.
Under announcements, Paul, you have an announcement you want?
I have just one, I guess. Well, actually, two. On your desk, pardon?
Yep, committee reports are first.
Well, is that where we are?
Yep,
Yep.
committee reports.
No, announcements are next.
Oh, yeah, announcements are
Okay.
first. Yep,
The announcements are, first of all, you should have on your desk the agenda for Thursday's meeting, which is 7 o'clock on Thursday. It was on your desk when you got here tonight. The second thing on your desk, there is the financial statement and another report from the auditors. The auditors will be here next month to give the final report for the 2020 audit. So take your books home and study, and remember to bring them back next meeting, next month, September 20th, not next meeting.
Okay, committee report, exec finance.
Those, the sales tax and general fund update were mailed out to you, and the update for the month through July was on your desk when you got here tonight. If you got any questions, let me know.
Let's see, correspondence.
I just have the one, it's a very short letter, I think I put it in your packets from Senator Smith's office in regards to sharing the opposition to Senate Bill 63. And turns out that Senator Smith is on that committee, the Sporting Heritage, Small Business and Rural Issues Committee. And I had to go back and find out what Senate Bill 63 was, but that was where we passed a resolution in opposition to changes to the Wildlife Damage Abatement and Claims Program.
Read that one.
What one? No, that's not on the agenda.
Okay, thanks. Okay, item 10, looking for a motion to, motion by Feltus.
Second.
Seconded by, was that Nelson? Oh, by Seisha. To pay mileage and per diem. Call the roll.
Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Kurt Skoyen.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Rick Nimitz.
Yes.
Douglas Winters.
Yes.
Sally Miller.
Yes.
Richard Seisha.
Yes.
Joe Feltus.
Yes.
George Brandt.
Yes.
Beth Killian. Randy Tullifson.
Yes.
Michelle Haynes. John Austin.
Yes.
Chuck Wallach. 16-0.
Okay, next regular scheduled meeting is the 20th. But we do have that meeting Thursday night at 7. Do you have any idea how many people have read the report?
I believe we have about 6 people left.
6 people left to read the report. Encourage you to read it before the meeting. Keep an open mind. Yes.
Could I make a suggestion that since we've approved the members' claims and we're meeting on Thursday night, that the checks could be handed out then instead of mailed out to everybody and save some postage, if that's possible?
That's fine, I'll cut them in the morning, and I'll have Lori hold them and bring them down.
You have direct deposit, yes.
Yeah, you just give you a little red slip, you and Dan.
Okay. There'll be no other business. We can adjourn at 8.
7:59. 7:59.
Is that 7:59? I can't. Yeah, it is. 7:59 official.
It wasn't 15 minutes ago.